You know that feeling when you're traveling and suddenly forget where your hotel is? You just got out of the cab, wandered off to explore, and within 5 minutes you're as lost as a toddler separated from their mom in a supermarket. Elephants don't have that problem. An elephant can recall the exact path, the precise waterhole, even a crooked tree they passed, sometimes from over 100 kilometers away. While you're still fumbling with Google Maps, making wrong turns, an old elephant matriarch is casually leading her herd across the savannah like she's got prehistoric GPS wired directly into her brain. But the real question is, how can an animal this massive, that spends most of its day eating and dust bathing, remember paths with such superhuman accuracy? Let's find out. 1. The elephant brain, a colossal memory machine. The brain of an elephant weighs around 5 kilograms, the heaviest of any land animal. By comparison, your brain only weighs about 1.3 kilograms. If we were to compare, an elephant's brain is like a supercomputer, while yours is more like a USB stick infected with malware. But it's not just about size. What matters is that the hippocampus, the brain's memory and spatial navigation center, is exceptionally developed in elephants. Sure, humans have one too, but in elephants it's like a massive library, cataloging every road, every landmark, every waterhole they've encountered across decades. MRI studies show that elephants have an enormous number of neurons dedicated to spatial memory. That explains why an elephant can recall a watering hole it last visited 20 or even 30 years ago. Meanwhile, you still can't remember the password you reset last week. 2. Social memory, the living archive of the herd. Elephants live in matriarchal societies, and the oldest female, the matriarch, leads the herd. She is essentially the herd's living hard drive, storing not only the map of the land, but also the social history. Who's friendly? Who's dangerous? Who once attacked the herd, and who can be trusted? A famous study in Amboseli, Kenya, revealed that matriarchs can distinguish over 100 different elephant calls. They can instantly tell if a sound in the distance belongs to a friend, a rival, or a stranger. When a matriarch dies, her herd often becomes disoriented. There are documented cases of elephants failing to find water and wandering aimlessly, simply because their living archive was gone. This shows that an elephant's memory isn't just personal, it's collective survival knowledge. Sometimes one wrinkled old brain is worth more than any modern GPS device. 3. The nose, biological radar. An elephant's trunk isn't just for trumpet solos. It contains over 2,000 olfactory receptor genes, 5 times more than humans, and even more than dogs. The result? Elephants can smell water from dozens of kilometers away. In arid landscapes, where a small muddy puddle might mean the difference between life and death, this turns them into biological water detectors. They don't need metal sensors or satellites, just a good sniff of the wind and the soil. They can even distinguish the scent of fresh rain falling far away, leading them towards places where new rivers or ponds might form. It's like having a built-in weather app, except it never runs out of battery. And it's not just about water. Elephants recognize other individuals, predators, and even humans by scent alone. The world, for them, is a giant invisible map painted entirely in smells. 4. The herd as a traveling school. Humans have schools, textbooks, and the internet. Elephants have grandmothers. Young elephants learn by following their mothers and grandmothers. Every migration, every journey to a watering hole is a lesson in survival. The matriarch teaches by example, and calves slowly absorb the routes, the dangers, and the strategies. Scientists describe this as a form of elephant culture, knowledge that isn't in their DNA, but is passed down through generations. In other words, a herd is basically a moving classroom, and the matriarch is the professor with decades of field experience. If this chain of memory is broken, say, if the matriarch is killed, the herd's collective wisdom collapses. What you lose is not just one elephant, but an entire living library. 5. Nature's GPS. Built-in navigation tech. Elephants don't rely only on memory and smell. They also have several natural navigation systems. Infrasound communication. Elephants produce low-frequency rumbles that humans can't hear. These sounds travel tens of kilometers and help coordinate herd movements. It's like they have walkie-talkies built into their bodies. Seismic sensing. The soles of their feet contain special cells that detect vibrations. Elephants can feel distant thunderstorms, running water, or even the footsteps of other herds through the ground. Environmental cues. They orient themselves using the sun, wind direction, and possibly even Earth's magnetic field, much like migrating birds. When you combine all these abilities, elephants become nature's ultimate GPS device. No satellites, no Wi-Fi, no charging cable required. 6. Science puts elephant memory to the test. Researchers haven't just taken these claims at face value, they've tested them. In Namibia, scientists placed barrels of water at different locations, then removed them years later. Elephants still walked straight to where the barrels had been. In Amboseli, recordings of elephant calls were played back. Matriarchs could tell instantly whether the voice belonged to a familiar ally or an unfamiliar stranger. In Tanzania, elephants returned to ancient migration routes that had been abandoned for decades, demonstrating astonishing long-term recall. The results confirm what folklore has always suggested. Elephants don't just remember, they weaponize memory as a survival tool. 7. Memory as a weapon of survival. In the harsh African and Asian landscapes, memory is life. One old elephant remembering a half-forgotten spring from 20 years earlier can save an entire herd from dying of thirst. When droughts hit, memory guides elephants across barren terrain to hidden water sources that no other animal can find. Without this knowledge, many herds would perish. This isn't just memory, it's a survival strategy honed over millions of years of evolution. 8. An elephant never forgets, and sometimes never forgives. The saying goes, an elephant never forgets. That's not just a metaphor, it's a biological reality. There are recorded cases of elephants returning to villages where they were once hunted, destroying crops, houses, and sometimes even injuring people. These aren't random rampages. They are acts rooted in memory, an elephant's very long, very unforgiving memory. At the same time, elephants remember kindness. There are stories of elephants recognizing humans who once helped them decades earlier, greeting them with calm and trust. Memory, for elephants, is not cold data storage. It is tied deeply to emotion. They remember friends, they remember enemies, and they act accordingly. 9. Conclusion. The super memory of elephants is a combination of a gigantic brain with an oversized hippocampus, a sense of smell sharper than a bloodhound's, natural GPS systems, infrasound, seismic sensing, celestial orientation, cultural transmission of knowledge across generations, and a rich social memory, faces, voices, grudges, and alliances. So when people say, an elephant never forgets, it's not just an old proverb, it's scientific fact. And maybe also a warning. Don't make an enemy of an elephant, because it will remember, for life. Final words. While you might still get lost in a strange city because Google Maps glitched, an elephant can lead its herd across 100 kilometers of cracked earth to find a puddle of water. Not because of magic, but because of memory, smell, learning, and a brain as large as a carry-on suitcase packed with survival data.